Pete, I'm going to give you an update on how things are going in August, and maybe you can tell me how things are going for you as well, if that
sounds good. Kick it off.
All right, I will. So, first of all, sales are strong. We've got about 115 contracts going through at the moment. We had about 5 settle yesterday. Year to date, we've had about 12,000 buyer inquiries on businesses, and we've had about 1,800 seller inquiries. Our KPI is to have 2,500 seller inquiries a year, so we're kind of on par there. And we're a little bit under on the buyer inquiries for some reason. It's definitely not a buyer's market. I've heard other people saying it's a buyer's market. I don't believe it's a buyer's market at all.
Why do you say that?
Because sellers can get good prices for their business. Mm-hmm. It's weird because there's this dichotomy that, you would think supply and demand, low supply, high demand, prices go up. But it's not always just that. It's other factors that determine value, like sentiment and profitability. But it's definitely not a buyer's market. It could get to that point, but it's definitely not at the moment, in my opinion. But there's some micro things I've observed around Australia that are really interesting, to me anyway. So Melbourne is down. Melbourne is a very negative environment at the moment. I was talking to somebody this morning who was looking at a business that was turning over $3 million a year. It's now turning over $1.4 million a year. So for whatever reason, Melbourne seems to be, I don't know if it's the first market in Australia that's negative, but it's definitely down. But interestingly, I just thought about this mid-morning this morning, and I noticed this, that rurally and in the rural regions of Victoria, their activity is good and their businesses are doing really well. And it's possibly a consequence of the rural market where, rice production's been good and wheat production's been good and cattle prices are good or reasonably good. I don't know why. But so Melbourne itself, not good. Rural Victoria, good. WA is strong. New South Wales was weak. It's improving, definitely improving. Queensland is steadily retaining where it is and even growing. And I think Queensland is going to be, with little things like the Olympics coming and the population boom here and development, here because we're in Queensland, I feel like Queensland has still got a way to go.
I think it's going to be a bit of a hotspot for the next few years.
Yeah. I think in many industries, they're undersupplied. So you could be a provider in, many services, and there's a sufficient demand for your product or services for you to have a very good business in the future in many, many service industries. I don't from my observation, Tassie and South Australia are low volume for us, and they're pretty steady. Hospitality is the outlier in all of that, because hospitality is still, even though it's 40% of buyer inquiries for hospitality across Australia, not just with Benchmark, but hospitality is still not flourishing. And so people are still wanting to get in there, don't know why, but it's not booming. The interesting thing is 2 points to finish off on where I think we're at with August. The first thing is that, but in the price range from 2 million to 5 million, demand is really strong. It's the strongest growth sector. Small businesses is definitely waning, moving on. But the $2 to $5 million sector, any business broker will tell you that's really booming, and we can't get enough businesses in that value space and in that sector. The other thing that I'm aware of, which is concerning to me, is that I believe that a lot of business owners are nervous about investing or reinvesting in their business. It's probably because they're feeling like interest rates are going to rise. There's been this uncertainty about interest rates, but I think we're coming off a very low base. So if interest rates are sort of worth 3 or 2 and they're 5 or 6 or 7 now, it's still not a killer. But a lot of business owners are just not prepared to invest in plant, equipment, machinery, new factories, improvements, because they're worried about incurring debt or the interest rates or where the economy's going, which is interesting because if business owners stop investing prudently, then their business may stop growing.
Absolutely. Value can go down, you lose competitive advantage, competitive position rather, and I think what I'm seeing is that the savvy operators are investing heavily at the moment. The savvy operators, and I don't mean investing heavily in terms of dumping a lot of cash and buying assets and things like that. That's one form of investing. But the other form is actually investing in their business, in their business practices, improving operations, improving the skills and knowledge of their team. And they're forward thinking. They're looking at, okay, well, what is technology doing? What is my industry doing? What is the economy doing? Where is it going? If you look at the indicators at the moment, you've seen that some of the banks have reduced the interest rates that they're giving back on some of the certain deposit accounts. You can go, okay, well, if they're reducing that, does that mean that it's an indicator that maybe interest rate increases have stopped for now? Maybe it's actually going to go down. Are we potentially going to see a cut in the interest rate at the end of this year?
Here's another thing, just while you mention it. If I'm a business owner and money in the bank is getting me 3 or 4 or 5% interest, I should be investing in equipment because that's going to give me a 10, 15, 20, 30, 40% return.
Provided that they're using that equipment optimally. Provided that they're...
absolutely. But I'm saying if it's cash in the bank,
absolutely,
or even stock.
Yep.
Because stock's going to give you a better return than that 3 or 4% pittance interest.
Well, the other thing is that if we think about what happened with COVID, and we're kind of out of that COVID period, there's actually still the legacy of COVID that we're feeling. So there's still a period at the moment where there's still delays in getting certain equipment. There's still delays with machinery. There's still delays with getting goods and services or goods coming in from overseas. So we know that there's still going to be that value sitting in there. So if you've got the equipment or if you've got the ability to access it, that could be a competitive advantage over the next couple of years, next foreseeable future.
Yeah. So what are you seeing?
Well, a lot of our inquiries come from the eastern states. So, throughout Queensland, New South Wales, ACT, Victoria, certainly rural regional areas, there's still a lot of positive movement. And I'd say it's probably because, if we look at Melbourne, for example, it's less of a coffee culture and more of an agricultural culture. So if I can put it that way, what I mean by that is that it's a different market space. If you go out into regional and rural Australia, a lot of it has got to do with the land. A lot of it is tied to mining, agriculture, those goods, transport. And we know that when you've got good periods, good rain, etc., that can boost the economy of these sort of regions. So there's a lot of that positivity. What we've also seen is that the sea change of people moving out from the capital cities and more into the regions, that's sort of driven a lot of their economies. We've also seen, I've certainly seen it in certain businesses where staff no longer need to be in a capital city. So they can live in a regional town and in a regional centre, and they can provide services nationally. So you're seeing some of those areas boom.
Yeah, there's a few in Toowoomba and those sort of places.
I was going to mention Toowoomba. We've seen that in Toowoomba. Toowoomba's certainly grown.
Yeah.
We've seen starting to see an increase in inquiries coming through from business owners that are wanting to build value, wanting to talk to us about potentially selling their business in the future, which is fantastic. So I think the message is starting to get out there that if you're looking at, I guess, reaping some of the rewards from your business at some point in time, talk to us now, talk to us first, so that we can assist you in laying the foundations and
don't wait till it's too late.
That's right. Get ready for sale. So we've got a few engagements where we're doing that at the moment. We've got an interesting one where finally we managed to get some of the owners in a business to see the light that they need to change their ways. So we're now going through a technology change, which is a huge process change within the business, and the owners are on board. It's fantastic because we know that if they're not on board, it's not going to happen. No. They're starting to do the right things. Absolutely. We had a strategy piece accepted by the board of a not-for-profit down in Canberra, which is fantastic. They've signed off on it. So now we're talking about how we move forward and I guess working with them as advisors to the board on implementing the strategy. And then out of that, we've got some other pieces of work that's coming. So it's been an interesting month. And from a people point of view, what's exciting for me is that we've got one advisor that's sort of on the verge of taking the reign of one of our client engagements that I've been assisting him with, which is fantastic. Where you can see your advisors, stand up to the plate and actually be able to deliver and actually go, you know what, you're almost ready to take the reins.
Well, it's because that's two parts. It's about their level of expertise and confidence, but also their understanding of the business, the relationship, and where they want to be.
That's right.
But how do you feel about stress levels of business owners that you're dealing with? Are they high, low, people comfortable, or where do you think they're sitting?
In general, and this is probably because of the type of clients that we're dealing with, the stress levels are not high. I think because of the clients that have come through and the type of businesses, they're actually profitable businesses. They're doing well. They're working with us because they want to work on their businesses. So most of the business owners that we deal with, they're not really getting ingrained into the day-to-day as much, if that makes sense. So they're more entrepreneurial types. They are more mature businesses, so they are turning over multi-million-dollar figures each year.
Yeah.
We've got a couple that fall underneath that, but they've got the right mindset and they're willing to give it a go and they're willing to take the advice and listen to us.
Yeah.
So the other exciting thing for advisory is that as a result of this podcast and the video series, we've actually gotten some traction. So we're now getting tapped on the shoulder to go and present and speak at events. So I've got several speaking engagements coming where they've asked me to go and asked us to go and present and talk to audiences, business owners on certain topics. So that's exciting as well. It's really good to know that people are listening. We can spread the word on business and some of the experience that we've got as entrepreneurs.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's interesting. Let's catch up again at the end of next month and see what's happened.
Sounds good, Bruce. Thank you.